But yeah, I had court yesterday. People like people who, and I really found like how bad my psychological hooks are in so many people. I mean, you talk about broken. I mean, broken. I mean, you're not supposed to let the person who like owns your mind know you own their mind, but they don't really care. Um, Everything that happened yesterday was what I told you would happen yesterday. I mean, people they acted like there was this big surprise, like there was this big shocking moment. I said, misdemeanor, $50 fine. That's what was decided yesterday. That's what we agreed to. So I got to go through this process where they ask me, hey, did you do this? Did you do it? And I'll be like, yeah, I did it. That's why I said I did it. They're like, okay, we're just checking. We're just making sure. Because if they start, looking into it, they call it a pre-sentencing hearing and domestic violence check. They got to make sure I'm not a big, violent, scary guy. And then they got to ask me, hey, between you, me, and offense post. I don't understand what kind of idiot like they get in these screenings. I guess when you deal with career criminals, I suppose you get some dummies, but I don't know what kind of dipshit you would have to be for like the probation investigator people to go, hey, between you, me, and offense post, and hey, I'm your buddy here. You really do it? And then the other person goes, nah, it's just with those idiots. Ah, got them. Yeah, gabagool. I don't know what kind of like retard you would have to grab for that. So here's the deal. Pled guilty to a misdemeanor yesterday. The felony gone, dismissed. And when the whole texting Gino and Image thing came about, when they brought this whole thing, I was like, well, I did a dumb because by the time they brought it up, by the time it was a thing, it was like I was so like past it and like not in the same place that I was then. I was like, oh yeah, well shit. I was like, the felony's ridiculous. Like the felony's silly. The felony's dumb. Obviously the felony's not any part of this. So when my attorney and I got together from the very beginning, we said, let's just get rid of this felony. Let's get this felony dismissed, and that's what we're good with. We'll take the misdemeanor, dismiss the felony. Good. They didn't want to do that at first. They kind of were like, they played this game where it was like, well, plead to the felony, and then after the thing, it'll drop to him. And we're like, no, that's not good enough. And then, Gino, I think the final nail in the coffin for the felony was Gino and Keanu weren't served. Gino and Keanu weren't coming. They were not cooperative. So the prosecution came to us a couple of weeks ago and they said, look, let's put a bow on this thing. Let's not drag this out any longer. Nobody wants to. Basically, they came to us. Nobody wants to drag this out any longer. We were still of the mind. We were like, well, maybe we do want to drag this out a little longer. Maybe we do want to go the whole way. I mean, we know what it's kind of like that line in Rounders. We know what we're holding and we know what you're holding. Maybe we want to go the whole way. And they said, all right, felony is a thing of the past. Forget the felony. Misdemeanor, $50 fine. The terms of your release will extend for a year or two. If probation says you're a good boy after a couple of meetings, they'll cut you loose. And I said, that sounds kind of nice. No, I mean, they made, they made him an offer he couldn't refuse. I mean, the motivation with no Gino and no Keanu was like, let's roll, let's go. And they said, how about, and then they just came to us and they said, how about this? And, my attorney even said, he goes, this is everything we wanted and more. Like, this is everything we wanted when this whole thing started. So, I asked him yesterday, I go, what do you think? And his opinion was, Aaron, it's $50. And I said, okay. And he also said, did you do it? And I said, yeah, I sent the text message. And that's the other thing. I took one day I was streaming. I was talking to Stevie Lou is now part of this lore. I was talking to Stevie Lou on the phone during an evening show in God, it was sometime between late December and early February. And I'm talking to Stevie Lou, and I wheel around and I take a picture. And then in May, I sent that picture to Gino Bisconti. That was a guy who was looking for a little validation from a friend. And I cannot urge you against something like that more. One thing I did learn in the whole journey afterwards was like, hey, maybe internalize some of that shit, think about it, let it stew, talk to a professional about it, and then you'll work through the process internally with a professional and you'll be fine. And then I saw some people, they were combing through the plea agreement. They're like, no, they were like Jesse Pinkman. They were like, he can't keep getting away with it. And I kept telling these people, like, I didn't get away with anything. I pled guilty to the thing I did. I took responsibility for the thing I did. It's not a nice thing to do. Don't do that to people. It hurts people. TJ, I'm looking forward to the Piggy show today, too. I mean, I don't watch it, but I hear those guys have some great copes on there, and they're not doing so well with this. And again, if I could make those guys feel any better, stop being so upset like it didn't happen to you. This whole thing can be whatever you make it. You can make it, oh, you know what you can say? Say like, oh, Aaron's in a puddle. Aaron's depressed about this. Oh, he's barely hanging on. You guys tell yourselves shit anyway to make yourselves feel better. Do that. Like Melton's got sores all over his face yesterday. He's crying about, Nick said he'd get the felonies. I thought there would be jail time. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but I told you there wouldn't be. And I was right. I told you the truth. I was your best friend in this whole thing. You listened to me, you would have gotten the straight dish. They're having a hard time with it. And that's just going to be amazing to me. They also think, so there's one condition on this probation, and it's the condition I've been living under for 8 months. And I told him in the back room in the meeting, I said, make it a lifetime condition. I don't care. Like, that's totally fine with me. So now all these people are mad about the condition, and they think that if they write the thing in a chat, that counts as me breaking the condition. It's like, guys, you can write that all you want. That's totally fine. Again, they're living vicariously through me, and they now think that condition is on them. It's not. It's just on me. You can say it till you're blue in the face. Go have fun. I don't feel bad that people are taking this so hard. I'm just more confused that they're taking it so hard. Like, you're fine. People are talking about the MLC show yesterday, and Keanu and her mom talking about all of that. That was a lot of fun. That was a good time. And then people were like, oh, Aaron got scared and he had to go. No, I mean, again, I was responsible for my own behavior. I behaved myself. I was good. Other people were losing their minds and writing everything they could. Again, you guys are allowed to do that. I'm responsible for my behavior. That's it. And I did have to go. Like, I wasn't going to do the Kevin thing, but Keanu called me and she's like, hey, I'm doing MLC. Will you come on with me? I'm like, sure, absolutely. I was doing my members only thing, and it was getting really late, and I had a night with SP that I had to get to. Gordy hadn't gone out in hours. So I'm like, I got to go spend time with my girlfriend and let my dog out. And there were some really bitter people who really wanted me to slip up and say something bad, which was never going to happen. And they were like, oh, he ran away. He ran away. It's kind of like, they were kind of like the Black Knight in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Yesterday, MLC, you seemed a little cagey with the questions Kevin was asking. I don't blame you. Well, that's because I'm responsible for what I say. And when Kevin asked me a certain question, I would be like, Kevin, I can't. I'm sorry. Can't do it. He can. He can say whatever he wants all day long. He can scream it and yell it right in my face. I'm responsible for my talk, if you will. Mild says, this is an L for Nick. If no other reason than it's legal proof. Yeah, I mean, maybe. But what I'm saying is, like, that doesn't have anything to do with me. That has to do with him. I mean, whatever, right? When Nova says, when Aaron came on, Kevin's lip licking went into overdrive. I always have fun with Kevin. I always have a good time on that show. He's great. Nova, I will not tolerate anybody talking shit about Jackie. No how, no way. He says, Jackie is an emo Miss Piggy. Jackie is a lovely woman. She is a big Steel Toe fan, too. She loves me. She loves my mugshot. She thinks it's gorgeous. So I got nothing but respect. And her attack dog. This is the lesson it should teach you. If you're anti-Steel Toe or pro-Onion or whatever, here's the lesson you learned yesterday. Don't take legal advice from Nick Rekieta and you'll be fine. What did he got you guys all gassed up. He went dead to rights on the felony, jail time, blah, 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 blah. He was wrong. I told you he was wrong from day one. I'm a better legal mind than he. Don't listen to him. And if you won't listen to me, listen to Sean. Sean, by the way, has nailed every fucking step of this from day one. I mean, Sean has been right on about all this legal stuff from Jump Street. And I know that the Onion Discord and the Reddits don't like him. And the reason they don't like him is because he doesn't tell them what they want to hear. He doesn't let them live in their fantasy world. He cracks that fantasy, and he's correct. Let's go ahead and pop this up there. Well, I thought 1-2 Skip to My Lou did an amazing job. This thing looks like it's going to take up the whole background. And it's lit up, by the way. I should have taken a picture in the dark with the whole thing. He gave me, there's a remote control with like 16 color options and the background lights rotate. Like, I'm going to have to sit there with this remote control like a fucking boomer trying to figure the damn thing out. Northside says the only fight Mersh lost was with poverty. Oh, by the way, Mersh was another one who said, Aaron's going to have to eat that felony. Aaron's going to have to eat that felony. Another one of your bets that didn't hit. Ouch. That's not good. Yeah, I'm not, look, I did a bad thing and I pled to a naughty thing that I did. But I will say this. There were a lot of people who I get to dunk on today because they said a lot of stupid shit and made a lot of retarded predictions. Maybe if you would have spent a little more time knocking out that car note rather than worrying about what I wasn't going to have to plead to, you might be in a little bit better spot there, kid. You'll get there. You'll get there. Hey, look, life is a journey. It's, it's all about where you end up. Honky says, reminder, Melton and Tukey boasted how they had access to latent media application by Aaron. It wasn't even an application. It was a presentation that they had us draw up for the ideas we had for what they wanted us to do. That was, old Rocco and Melton sure did clam up about that as soon as that was in the hands of the authorities. What's wrong? Why don't you just admit? Now they're trying to pretend they never did. Can't walk it back, boys. Hey, you know what? If you're lucky, they won't do anything with it. But I don't know if they will or they won't. I have no control over that. It is out of my hands at this point. Yeah, they also said they were getting Toe kicked out of his gym. Yeah, not only that, but the gym got a thing from USA Boxing and Safe Sport this week that said, no more temporary suspensions for you, boy. None of that. Honky says, no. So thorough Joe Burrow. Wah, Aaron's a snitch. Also, Joe Burrow compiles a dossier of Aaron like Christopher Steele on Trump. Yeah, even people who like that So Thorough Joe Burrow guy are like, bro, are you sure you want to be spending this much of your life doing this shit? It's all I got. Poor So Thorough Joe Burrow. He's so mad that we've been knocking out our goals and not doing the begging segment that he's now counting anytime we get a super chat as begging. And then he's like, oh no, this one's fake. This one's fake. By the way, his source, his own asshole. I like that I impact people that much. I like that So Thorough Joe Burrow is my bitch. Yeah, Mint Diggity says, So Thorough Joe Burrow's source. Trust me, bro. Oh, yeah, Walter. Somebody sent me the other day. Walter, if you're listening, So Thorough Joe Burrow thinks you're fake. That's gotta sting, right? Melton told Rocco to go to Safe Sport in Colorado and file a complaint in person. Do you know what a bitch you would look like if you did that? Where the mean steel toe man. Oh, Will Heron DM'd me yesterday. I don't know if I don't think he was drinking, but Will Heron DM'd me yesterday, and he was like, "I'm gonna write a story on this. I'm gonna write a story on your plea deal." And he goes, "Where was that? I have to update your web story." Like, well, you don't. You could if you wanted to. Do you have a comment regarding what took place at court today? It's like, mother, have you been listening? If I do not hear from you, I will just use your tweet and say whatever you say on your show. And then I said, I'll call you later. I'm a bit tipsy. I never did call him. He says, is there a picture you prefer to use? And I just wrote, I don't care, but you aren't the most unbiased reporter, LOL. Let's be honest. And he goes, I just want to be fair. Meanwhile, this drunken horse-tooth-faced retard has gone on pretty much every 50 viewer show there is, trashing me up to everybody and sucking the baldo. And he's going to be like, oh, you just want to be fair. And then he got a talking to from his bosses because a bunch of crazy internet people called them and said, hey, should your reporter really be getting shit hammered and showing off his cheap dental work he had done in Mexico? Not a good look. So I said, your boy will give you what you need. Be careful. He might be grumpy. I can use what you said today. I've spoken to Nick as well about a quote. I can't imagine that he talked to him first. That sounds crazy. He said, I will have it later, just affording you the same opportunity. And I wrote, buddy, relax. It's okay. You're Team Nick. There's no need to be fair. Do what you do. It's okay. Like I'm telling him, like, unburden yourself. You don't have to pretend to be non-biased. There's nothing wrong with having a team. And he goes, I'm not on a team. Dude. This is what I kept telling him, like, don't embarrass yourself. He said, I asked Nick for a quote. I asked you for one. I asked if he had a pick he preferred. I asked you the same. It's all in your head. I did my due diligence. I'm like, bro, don't be silly. I get it. I understand. He's very convincing when you don't know him. It's totally cool. I would never try to convince you otherwise. You can't take back the hours of shows you've been on, brother. Sorry. He goes, what would I take back? I said, I don't think you should. I don't think he was understanding what I was saying. I was like, I don't think you're fair. I'm not going to give you anything for your story because you're going to make it the way you want to, and I'm fine with that. Basically, I was trying to say, we don't need to speak. I said, I don't think you should. I'm saying you don't need to come to me to be fair. Unburden yourself. Everyone who talks about you says you're a sweeper, so you don't need to do the journalistic credibility thing. I'm sorry to be blunt, but I figure why be phony? Do your thing. So he said, whether I like you or hate you, come on. I will always do my job. It is my job to ask your side. You don't have to answer, but I will do my job. The great honorable Mr. Ed. I says, it's your job to cover Louisiana. This world has put you at risk numerous times. This is you trying to get into the internet game, which, no offense, is not going to work. News is your meal ticket. The grass is greener where you water it. But don't worry, this is just coming from the guy who has accurately given you advice numerous times. And then he finally got the hint after that and stopped responding. He wants to get into that internet world, but here's the deal. He's not talented. Like, he's got to stay in the news business, because in the news business, if you read the teleprompter, you drive out to all the stories they want you to drive out to. Basically, if you're a good lackey and you keep your nose down, you read the teleprompter and you do the basic job, they'll keep you around forever. But on the internet, you have to, like, be able to draw a crowd and draw an audience. And unfortunately, there's no spot for, like, journalism on the internet, like in this kind of realm. And Will isn't somebody who can draw, no offense. Like, name a show that Will's been on where Will's personality was like the big get and it drew a crowd. He can't. 09 Canyon says, maybe if you responded in a timely manner, you wouldn't seem to be favoring Nick, who replies quickly. Well, look, I don't doubt that Nick replies quickly. What? Somebody who I can tell them exactly the way it is and they'll believe me? I have to. What do they have? 2 followers? You got to stop doing that, by the way. Those people send me DMs, like, immediately. And I don't care enough. Dad Vet with $2 says, Aaron, you should dump Gino as a friend. Yesterday, going on MLC talking shit about certain people. Well, he's allowed to do that. I'm not. I can't talk about that. Anybody else can. That's the mistake people make. I can't get in trouble for anything other people do or say. I'm responsible for me.